I survived 100 days in a random Minecraft dimension. First off, let me give you some backstory on this project. I started working on it about 2 years ago, and then all of a sudden, I was in my last year of high school getting ready for uni and just ran completely out of time. But recently, I've decided to finish it off because I got to day 80, so I decided to finish off the last 20 days. Basically, how it works is this is an old snapshot called 20W14 Infinite that Minecraft released on April Fool's Day. Basically, it allows you to throw a book into a portal, walk into the portal like this, and all of a sudden, you're in a randomly generated dimension. Some of them, like this one, are set. This book is Isolation, and the only thing in the dimension is this: a house with Bob and his three dogs, Bob's dog, Bob's other dog, and their cousin Jim. But some aren't set, like this one. Some are completely random, like the one I spent my 100 days in. Like this one. Completely random colors, random trees, even mine shafts. And others are like a maze. But the dimension I spent my 100 days in is completely different from any of these. So I really hope you enjoy this video. If you do, be sure to drop a like and comment below any suggestions on what I should do next. Should it be another one of these 100 days videos, or should it just be exploring the random dimensions that exist in this snapshot? So without further ado, let's get into it. I really hope you enjoy.
To begin this journey, I warped to the only dimension that seemed fit, 100, because I'm surviving 100 days. Although I did not know where it would bring me, I felt like this was the dimension that should be. So, of course, I began to explore and see what I needed to survive and how to plan out for the next 100 days. I already knew it's going to be a long one. So, collected food. I found out watermelons was probably the best and only food source I'm going to get here. But we also have some end ships, which is where I'm going to make a house, because it's a pre-built structure, slightly lifted off the ground, and I can't sleep anyways, so why bother building too much of a house? So yeah, and I decided to look for stone. Luckily, I heard a lava pit, and usually lava pits are surrounded by stones. So, lucky for me, I found a lava pit, and I spent the rest of day 1 collecting stone. After learning that the dimension is slowly burning out from the inside due to the lava pit, nice going Mojang, I decided to go look for iron in the mine shaft. After finding that iron, I learned that you cannot place water in this dimension, wasting said iron on a bucket. So now I have to build a farm very far away from my house. So I spent the remainder of day 2 and most of day 3 mining out that farm around that little water pool and building a bridge to the farm. I also learned that melons are the only seeds that can be placed, so melon seeds are going to be my only food. After that, I spent the remainder of day 4 looking in the mine shaft for more iron and food because, yeah.
So on day 5, I decided to complete my farm, which eventually got destroyed by creepers. So I decided to go back into the mine shaft on day 6 and collect any resources that I could find, like diamonds, bread, and even this name tag here. I eventually had enough diamonds to make a diamond pick, which meant I could go back to my house and build another portal. So on day 7, I built a portal, too wide, but I went with it because it was too late, and it appears on the remainder of day 8 I was AFK.
After my portal had finally lit, on day 9, I went to the nether for the first time. This was a momentous occasion because I didn't think I was going to get to the nether in the series. But this isn't the nether, you ask? Well, that's because that's how the snapshot works. So I spent the remainder of day 9 collecting materials from the overworld in order to make a book and quill so I could get back to my dimension once I was in the nether. I threw out everything I got from the overworld except what I needed to make the book and quill, because this is not an overworld series, so I cannot collect materials from the overworld, which, incredibly sad, I know. So, once I'd gotten those materials, I got lost, and phantoms had spawned, so I did what the only reasonable thing to do, and I dug a hole and stayed in it for the night. Once I collected those materials and found my portal once again, on day 12 I went to the nether for actually this time. So, once I was in the nether, I decided to collect gold in order to make golden boots so that I wasn't attacked by piglins whenever I saw them. Once I made the boots, I had one extra piece of gold, so I decided to do a trade. The trade gave me gravel. I cannot get gravel in my dimension, so this is a pretty good thing. It was a decent amount too, so now I can finally get flint. But sadly, my portal will not link up after multiple tries. I will continue to try throughout the series, but because it didn't link up, I spent the remainder of day 13 and 14 building a bridge all the way back to my house. Although it wasn't too far of a journey, which was lucky for me, it was still a couple hundred blocks, so I had to do a lot of building, a lot of bridging. There were multiple occasions where a mob tried to murder us, that's what they do, so I had to cease building and deal with those mobs. I also had to take many, many trips back to the nether. But after a while of building and many trips and many mobs, I finally finished my bridge to my house, so now I have an easy way of access to my nether portal.
On day 15, I decided to try and collect some food from the nether, starting with these pig boys. Unfortunately, the other pig boys decided to take the food for me, so I had to go and find another one. Once I found another one, I once again built up so it couldn't hit me and started whacking at it. Eventually, I got him and took the food. After I got a couple pork chops, I decided to also scour the nether looking for mushrooms as another food source, due to the fact that melons weren't a very good food source and pork wasn't going to last forever. So I wanted to find mushrooms and try to grow them to make mushroom stew. I eventually did find red mushrooms. I do have brown mushrooms in my dimension, so I didn't need to collect any brown mushrooms, but I did anyways. Once I collected the mushrooms, I headed back to my portal and attempted to make this little mushroom farm, hoping that they would grow and I would have a pretty decent food source for the rest of the time here. Once had some mushrooms, I made some mushroom stew to try it out.
Day 16, I started off the day by looking to see what I had and what I needed. I realized I had some pork chops from the nether that I collected, so I thought I should make a furnace. Then I realized I did not have enough stone for a furnace, so I decided to go and get some. I also wanted to check to see if I needed anything else while I was out and about. So I went down my beautiful ramp and staircase thing and went into the lava pit. Then I realized auto jump was on, almost causing me to jump in the lava, so I quickly turned that off and continued on my way. Once I had enough cobblestone, I headed home to make the furnace. Up my sketchy staircase. Once I've made the furnace, I put the pork chops and the coal in there to cook it up and get some food, because as you can tell, I only have 11 rotten flesh and 1 bowl of mushroom stew currently for food. And now I no longer have that bowl of mushroom stew, so rotten flesh. On days 17 through 20, I was in the mine shafts collecting materials, food, and all that other good stuff. I found this spider spawner, which I wanted to preserve for maybe an XP farm for the future. So I very slowly and did a very bad job, but managed to get it done. I covered the spawner in torches, and give it a second. I'm very bad at this. And once it was covered in torches, I continued on my way through the mines. This here is a time lapse of me going through the mine shaft, finding hallways and stuff, and finding as many chests as possible to get as much iron, gold, food, diamonds as possible. I didn't find many chests until near the very end, and then I found a bunch. I got to a point where I had more diamonds than iron, which was problematic based on the fact that I came down here for iron. Eventually, though, I did find enough iron to make full iron armor. I also came out of this adventure with 2 stacks of torches, so I'm not going to need torches for the near future. Plus, I have realized I do not appear to need torches in this here dimension. And as you can tell right there, I very carefully and very skillfully saved myself from 1 heart of fall damage. I am a very skillful Minecraft player, because I wanted this chest. I got the chest and also a multi-shot book. I'm going to have a very OP bow in this world, because I got flame, I got, what was it called? Power, yeah, that's the one. Day 21 through 22, I made a little home for my mushroom, and the door, it did not like me, so I broke it and placed it again. This time, it did in fact work, so I was making a safe space for me to AFK in the nether, just in case, I don't know, gas comes along or something, while I wait for my mushrooms to spread, because clearly they're not spreading while I'm not in here with them. So, I made it safe, so hopefully nothing can get to me, and I AFK'd for the rest of day 22, waiting for my mushrooms to spread. On day 23, I began the day in the nether, looking at my mushrooms. They had spread a bit, but not much. But this doesn't mean they will spread. Then I decided I should finally start working on my house. So I went to my house and decided which block would go the best with the purpur. I decided blackstone would probably be the best option, so I decided to go in the nether. But it turned out I couldn't find any blackstone, so I just spent the rest of day 23 boys in the nether. As you can see by these two dweebs here getting absolutely destroyed, bruh. Destroyed. Then on the way home, I spotted a chicken jockey? Yeah, that's what they're called. Spotted a chicken jockey, so I decided to get the chicken all the way home because they can self-reproduce with their egg boys. So I brought him all the way home, hoping he wouldn't respawn because I didn't have an anvil, that's what they're called. I didn't have an anvil to name him, although I had over, 10 name tags. Sadly, I did not have an anvil, or enough iron to get an anvil, so I put him in a cage once I got home, and I fed him in hopes that he would not despawn. Let's hope. Let's hope. Once I finally coerced him into the cage, I left him there and decided to go and finally get the blocks for my house. I started building my house, and I realized I was confronted with phantoms on day 25. I also needed more purple blocks, and I didn't want to take from my own end ship because that's where I was living. So
I went to the underground end ships and took the purple blocks from there. I also grabbed the books from the chest just in case I wanted to use them for a later date, but I ended up collecting about a stack of purple blocks, which I thought would hopefully be plenty enough to finish my house. So I decided to use these nether wood slabs because I thought they looked pretty good with the purple since I couldn't find the blackstone. I also discovered that my chicken had despawned, which made me incredibly sad. I knew I should have named it.
on day 26 and 27, I'm not entirely sure what I did these 2 days, but I'm pretty sure I explored the nether looking for a fortress, because I do not have any video from these days. On day 28 through 30, I did in fact find the fortress after a long search in the nether, and it is this soul sand biome with gas everywhere and a horrible entrance. So on day 31 through 34, I decided to try to dig to my portal to have an easy access to the fortress from my portal, because I really did not want to deal with that fortress at the moment, and I did not have the resources either. Sadly, since I did not have the resources, I did have to dig with my hand all the way back. Luckily, netherrack does not take too long, but sadly, due to the fact that this is a soul sand biome with ghasts absolutely everywhere, I did have to put a roof over myself or dig underground, so I could not just bridge, although that would have been much easier, as you can tell from this large open area. I got attacked by skeletons a few times due to the soul sand biome. When I finally got home, I was met with hordes and hordes of phantoms, which made me sad. Went home for the day. On day 35, I started off the day realizing I couldn't enter my nether fortress without getting attacked by billions of ghasts, so I decided to do something new. Make a much easier way directly to the blaze spawner, because I really did not want to deal with all the ghasts because I was in the soul sand biome. So I first started off by fixing up my path, making it a little safer from the ghasts, because once again, I'm in a soul sand biome and there's like 300 ghasts every time I come through here. It's not that much safer, but the ghasts can't see me from the side. And then, as you can tell, instead of going down, I go straight across all the way to directly above the blaze spawner. This was day 36 through 45, because this took a very long time. Especially because of the fact I had to build walls on everything, because once again, there were ghasts. On day 46, I decided to get the blaze rods because I was hoping to beat the edge dragon by day 50, which was getting less and less likely due to the fact that my nether was so hard to get into. But I spent most of day 46 just getting all the necessary blaze rods. I got 2 extra just in case, because I'm not entirely sure what the stronghold's going to be like, and if there even is going to be one in my dimension. So once I got 8 blaze rods, I headed home. This is why I hate the nether. It sucks. It sucks. But when I got home, I was greeted by a friend. So of course, I went over and towered up. Waited for the friend to come over. Because what else would you do? Day 47, I began the day by in an end ship because I needed a couple more ender pearls in order to be able to fill the portal in the stronghold. I currently had 8, and I need 12 to assume an empty portal because usually that's what it is. I managed to get 1 drop out of these 2 Endermen, which isn't bad. So on day 48, I began traveling to the stronghold as well as killing mobs, including Endermen, for more pearls along the way. Because I did want to beat the dragon by or on day 50, so I needed to get there pretty fast. So I traveled across the lands, finding new things in my dimension, including a birch forest, which I guess is a new biome that I didn't know existed previously. So currently we have 3 biomes. We have the barren birch lands, that's what I'm going to call them. We got the birch forest, and we got the jungle forest, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I traveled all the way across, very far, very far. I'm surprised the eyes worked when I threw them at first. It's pretty cool, so hopefully there's going to be a stronghold. I continued to travel very far, for a very long time. But I finally found a spot where I could mine down and hopefully find a stronghold, see if the eyes had been lying to me or not. But they weren't. There was in fact a stronghold, which was really cool. After searching the stronghold for a very, very long time, I finally found the portal room, got rid of the silverfish spawner, of course, and started to place the eyes. Sadly, I did not have enough, so on day 50, I had to collect 2 more from the surface. And just in time on day 50, I was able to go into the end dragon. But that did not go as planned, as when I jumped into the end portal, I realized I was not in the end circle where the ender dragon spawns, and I was actually in the end barrens. So I spent the next 10 or so days searching through the end, trying to find anything, an end city, an end gate. I only managed to find 1 end city my whole travels, and luckily it did have a ship, so I was able to get an elytra, but I couldn't find, or actually I only found 1 chest in this whole entire end city, which was sad. But after the end city and collecting all the goods, including these very crappy boots because they have all the possible bad enchantments on them, but grab them just to melt them down or whatever and get some diamond boots anyways. After I raided this end city of all its belongings, because why not, I set out to look for an end, or a gateway, I believe they're called. Set out to look for a gateway, because that was the only way of getting home or getting to the ender dragon, because I didn't have enough blocks to bridge and I didn't have any fireworks, so I couldn't get to the origin of the end. Once I finally found the end gate, I realized I didn't have any end pearls, and I had the worst possible drop rates. I 6, 7 Endermen before actually finally getting a singular drop. This was very sad, and I'm very bad and took a bunch of damage because I messed up somehow. But I didn't die, and finally, after many to the Endermen, finally managed to get a drop and go into the end, or into the gateway. And as I suspected, the gateway did in fact bring me to the Ender Dragon's home on day 61. So on day 61, I decided I had to kill the Ender Dragon. Well, I didn't decide, I kind of had to get out. So I destroyed all the health crystals and got the Ender Dragon down to very low health, till it finally perched and I was able to. So that is one big milestone. Sadly, I did not reach my goal of day 50 because I did not realize that I wasn't going to spawn in the actual end, and I spawned in the frickin' end barrens, in the middle of the end barrens. So after collecting all the XP and the Ender Dragon egg, I jumped into the portal and made my journey home. Beautiful. The credits. How exciting. Minecraft. Java Edition. Okay, now that we're done with that, from day 62 to 65, I traveled home and had an idea. So I collected some obsidian from one of my nearby end ships, and with this diamond pickaxe, it was very slow because I don't have any enchantments on it yet. I built the portal, I lit it, and I threw one of the books I found in my end ship into the portal. This dimension was not very fun though, so I decided to go home and use the other book that I also found in the dimension I'm in, so I can use it to get some new dimensions. So I threw this one in, and this one wasn't as bad. So I built an underground farm because, like usual, there was phantoms every dimension because I haven't slept one throughout the series. I built farm, and now I have a better source of food than just finding melons. On day 66, I decided that my little farm wasn't worth it in that dimension when I could just go to a bunch of other dimensions and see where they bring me. So I mined the portal, I put the block on, and I'm not just realizing while editing that I could have just thrown the book in to create a new portal, but we don't have to worry about that. So over the next 5 days, I traveled through these dimensions seeing if I could find anything useful. Some, like this one, were just caves with no resources whatsoever. Other ones were just barren wastelands, aka the Meso biome. This one I did collect some terracotta from, and maybe I can make some pretty building blocks to improve on my house throughout the next couple days. Other dimensions I went in were just a random assortment of blocks, and none of which were very useful to me. Some were slightly useful, but only useful in one material, like this one, where I got about a stack of gold blocks. What I'm going to do with gold, no clue, but I have it now. Others were not so. I was not so lucky. This is the one thing I was worried about, and we'll just leave it at the fact that I don't think that they're uninhabitable. We'll just leave it there. But this dimension, I wasn't very smart and somehow managed to end up loading into it twice. So I really should check what book I was throwing in the portal. And I learned that lesson, so I wrote a sign telling me not to throw that book into the portal again because it will be bad. I also learned that there were duplicates, which is pretty cool. Or not cool because it brought me to the Wither dimension. Finally, the last dimension I went in looked promising from the start. Cascaded down with water, collected some food from the chests. But when I looked up from my chest, it wasn't very good as I saw some scary things. It was also kind of cool how tropical fish immediately spawn in my water. But because of the Ender Dragons, this is not a very safe dimension. Day 70 to 75, I just got prepared to explore the multiple dimensions. That's what they're called. So yeah, I built the portal, got some books, and checked them out. Made sure they weren't that book that led me to the Wither dimension, and just needed to look for some resources, stuff like that, and also just wanted to explore because I was running out of things to do in this 100-day challenge. Because I don't know. So yeah, the first dimension was just this end ship. Wasn't much I could do with it because most of the dimensions you can't place water in anyways, so it would be kind of hard to get down and there's no real purpose. So I just moved on to the next one, which was quite apparent as soon as I loaded in. Was just a barren wasteland with Endermen and pretty much nothing else. So I pretty much packed up and left that one pretty quickly and moved on to the next one. This next one I did spend a couple days in. Probably it took me to about day 75 because there's a lot to do in this dimension and there was a lot of blocks and stuff. So I just explored this dimension. I looted some chests because I am running low on food. Got some wood, got some apples, got some of these blocks for decoration and just souvenirs. Alright, and on day 75 to 80, I traveled home from those long dimension journeys, cooked up some salmon because why not? And I decided to dig a giant hole and blow everything up because I got many stacks of TNT from that previous dimension. I don't know why I decided to do this. Well, I was trying to do some, but it got disrupted by many mobs, so I just kind of gave up on it. And then I got attacked by a zombie, so I went back home. And then I decided, well, instead of living in the ship that I've been living in for the past 80 days, let's build a new house. Because, yes, houses are fun. So I blew up a whole large area, put a door on it, and there it is, my home. I did some decoration with the blocks, because that's the whole purpose of collecting the blocks, to do some decoration. Is it good decoration? Nah, but it's decoration. Place some blocks here and there, mainly just filling in the holes that I created with the TNT. And then, once I'd moved, I had to move all my stuff because I don't just want an empty house. So, made some chests, placed some chests, and I began to move everything. Did some organizing while I was at it, just so it wasn't a complete mess. Did some color code organizing here, which was pretty cool. So yeah, I just spent the next, I don't know, day or so, maybe 2 days, just moving everything because I had a lot of stuff and only a small inventory to fit it in. So I just went back and forth many times until I had finally moved everything that I owned into this new house and could leave behind the old one, which was just a boat. I had a miscellaneous slash ore chest. I had block chest, potions. I had everything. Well,
Day 81 through 83, I decided I wanted to go on another adventure through the many dimensions available to me. So I gathered my belongings, like some obsidian, to make an extra portal, and tried to look for any books that I could possibly find. After I collected those items, I went and built the portal that I was going to use, made sure none of the books, once again, were that one dimension that was not very fun to be in. I found the book I decided to use, lit the portal, threw it in, and off we went. Once we've loaded into this dimension, we looked around for a bit, went upstairs, tried to see what was up, had to mine my way out. So I went back down the stairs and checked the chest, decided to take the books just in case I wanted to use them for later. And then I went back up the stairs and actually did mine myself out this time and decided to peek around, see what we had. First thing we saw was a gas, so we went away and hid because we didn't really want to be knocked off our floating island in the sky, because that would not be the best for our health, I suppose. Once we gained the courage, we went back outside and peeked over the edge to see what we got. Looks like we got a lot of bones. Very interesting dimension. Just another one of those ones with just a bunch of end ships. Continued to look around, see what I could find, see if anything was useful. Couldn't really see any useful way down, so I decided to stay up on the ship. Saw a couple of gas, so I went over, and that's when I decided to leave because I did not want to be messing with all those. Because, yeah. So I made my way back home and got knocked off by a phantom off my bridge. Luckily, it wasn't too high, so I survived. On day 84, I decided to go back into a dimension just for more exploring. First thing we noticed in this one was the wonderful fish flopping noise that you can hear constantly in the dimension. Some of them have that. It's just a noise that's always there. This one happens to be this one. So we looked around, noticed very colorful, lots of coal, and there's some chests and mine shafts down on the ground level. So we decided we should try to mine our way down. We got decently far down into the shape in the sky, but we took a look around and realized there wasn't a way of getting down without water or more blocks, and I simply did not have access to those. So I headed my way back home, and on day 85, I went into a new dimension, checked the chest, realized I'd already been there, so I went and had an altercation with a shulker, got hit just as I killed it, so to float around for a wee bit while we waited for the effect to wear off. Once the effect wore off, we went to the chest, took the book out for later use, and headed on back. On day 86, we came into this new dimension. Notice it's nether-like dimension, just wool instead of netherrack. We went around for a bit, but realized it wasn't really worth exploring too much, so we decided to go into the next dimension on day 87. We looked around for a bit. The only thing we really found was this very strange growing red substance on this dirt block, which was quite strange, but we headed back anyways because not much we could do with that. So went back to the portal, decided to hop in and check out some more dimensions because there's not much to do anymore on this 100-day challenge. So we went into this one, realized it's the same one we were just in, Um, so on day 88 through 89, I went back to this dimension and decided I might as well explore some more. So we explored, we ran around for a bit, and on day 90, I found these awesome water lakes in the middle of lava pools. So I decided I will want to go down and find out what's going on with those, check them out. But on the way down, I saw this building out of the corner of my eye, and I wondered, what's that? Went over to it. Turns out it's a village in a I don't even nether dimension. I don't even know. So I just I couldn't believe it. I found a village, so I went and did the only logical thing: raid the village. First option. I took this smoker for no apparent reason other than the fact that it was sitting there. I continued to raid the village, taking stuff out of chests, checking everything out. Because once again, this is just, I did not realize villages could spawn in these dimensions, nonetheless, another like dimension. So I took the one piece of bread out of that chest. What a chest that was. And I took more bread and this leather armor, which I later discarded because I realized there's no need for leather armor. And then I, of course, had to go and take this wheat because, as you know, I have a very I have a food shortage because can't grow crops, can't really do anything. So I grabbed this, decided it didn't want to grab it, but had to mine it again, got it. So that was all good. Continue raiding the chest. I decided to get rid of the leather armor here because I figured I don't need it while I have pretty much all the good armor. So I looked over, checked out some more of these lakes in the middle of the lava. Just really cool. It looks really good. I don't know why. It's pretty cool. So I continued with the village, raided this last chest, and decided why not try the bed? Oh, because you might as well. After that didn't work, I did realize I had set a dimension full of wool on fire, so I quickly departed. So on day 91, I made my way home and made bread out of the wheat that I had found in the village. I made enough bread to last me through the 100 days, which means my food shortage in this dimension is officially over, which is great news because I don't have to worry about food and I can do whatever I want. So on day 92, I did some final housework like getting the sugar cane. I also collected a couple items from my chest because I wanted to prepare to go on a journey because I figured I hadn't explored my actual dimension enough. So on day 93, I set out on my adventure, got stopped by a cave spider, but quickly dealt with him once he trapped himself under a slab, and I ran. I ran trying to find anything other than the jungle-ish biome that I was currently in. On day 94, I ran into a good friend, zombie villager man. Don't know where he came from, but kept on going. And finally, on day 95, I found this, a birch biome. New biome in this world. And sometimes you can even look, and it almost looks like you're in the real overworld until you come over the hill and see the fog, dusky, yellowy sky, and then you realize something's off and you see the wool and it's just not quite right. On day 96, I kept running through the birch biome. It seemed to be never ending. Kept running into mobs, literally everything, because it seems to be always night in this dimension, which I did actually finally realize the phantoms, there does seem to be day and night, because the phantoms only spawn at a certain time, but the sun never comes up or down, which is quite strange. But yeah, continued on my journey after that revelation, and on day 97, I found this field of monsters and decided it was time to turn around because I hadn't found anything, so I might as well head back for the last couple of days. On day 98, I saw the end ships and knew I was getting close to home, so I ran and followed their tracks for a bit until I found the exact location where my house was. Ran into some friends on the way, some little silverfish, good stuff. But then I finally saw a glimpse of home with the bridge, so I ran over to it, climbed up, and went back to my house. I wanted to do something, build something as commemoration of this 100-day challenge. I'm not a very good builder and I didn't have many resources. So on day 99, I collected what I could get, what I had in my chests, what I could find, and tried to think of ideas on what I should build. It's not going to be anything extravagant, as I said, but on day 100, the last day of the challenge, I got started on this. I can only call it a masterpiece. I don't think anyone would agree with that statement, but I started building a woolen backdrop just to uh just to give it the vibe of the world. Got attacked by phantoms on the way because why not? They always seem to be there. Finished up this back frame while warding off the phantoms, and once I finally had it done, I went and collected some goodies to create the front artwork. I collected some terracotta, some red concrete. I had some netherrack. I had plenty of different kinds of glazed terracotta as well, other than the red ones. So once I collected all of those from my chest, I went over and started making a one. You can probably see where this is going. Yes, I'm making the number 100 to commemorate the 100 days I have spent in this world. I made the one out of a variety of different colors, variety of different red blocks, and I made the two zeros out of the same blocks because I didn't have much on the other side of things. But I thought it looked decent. It was good commemoration. I misplaced there. Took a step back, checked, saw that I made a wee mistake again because the two zeros are attached at the bottom and I don't like how that looks. So I mined those corners and took a step back and admired my work. I hope you guys liked the little sculpture I built. And with that done, with the day 100 coming to an end, I logged off the world and called it a day. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. Just chilling with my friend Bob here in the isolation dimension. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to leave a like and even subscribe if you want to. Uh, Drop in the comments any ideas what you want me to do. Do you want me to try and survive in this dimension? Do you want me to try and survive in a different dimension? Just throw whatever you want in the comments. I believe I believe that's it. Yeah. Um so yeah, once again, thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed.